Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 2v2 battle. It's going to be Vampire Counts and Greenskins versus Bretonnia and the Empire. The theme for this one is going to be Fresh Graves, which I brought multiple zombie units, multiple of the Crypt Ghouls, 3 Crypt Horrors. We have 2 Terrorgeists, 1 on either side. We also have 2 Dire Wolves on the flank here in Vanguard deployment. So the idea is that we take the Crypt units and then any unit that is freshly dead, so that would be the zombies because they still have skin on their bones, the Terrorgeists still have skin on their bones, and the Dire Wolves also still have skin and muscle tissue on their bones. They're not fully skeletal. So basically no Fellbats, no Vargulfs, no Vargeists, and no skeletal units or Banshee units. So I picked I don't know, I think it's kind of a cool theme. I did leave 1 zombie unit back here, unfortunately, in deployment. My ally here has 2 Doom Divers, a Goblin Wolf Rider. We have 2 Orc Biggins, a Orc Shaman, Azhag, 3 Black Orcs, 2 Goblins, and then on this flank, 2 Orc Boar Boy Biggins, and then 2 Orc Boys backing up my Vanguard deployed Dire Wolves. The Bretonnian player brought 7 or 8 Spearmen at Arms, backed up by the 5 Peasant Bows. You have a Steam Tank, Karl Franz on a Griffin, King Lewin on a Horse. Then we have 3 Grail Knights, 4 Demigryph Knights, and 2 Knights of the Realm. That is the army matchup today. And when I was seeing this army, I'm not too worried about the spears, because this army has a bunch of Crypt Ghouls, which I think are going to be pretty good at taking out Spearmen. And I am wanting to try and get to these squishy peasant bows, so I'm going to use my Crypt Horror's mass and speed to try and pile through the spearmen and try to get to the squishy peasant bows on the other side. I also wanted to try and get to them with our Dire Wolves here, but you can see this player is going to be reacting with their massive group of knights, but I'm going to try and get into the peasant bows. Here I walked up our Crypt Horrors a little too fast. I don't want them to get shot up by the peasant bows, so I'm sending in my zombies first. The light wizard is going to be sniping some of my units. Not my hero, though, oddly enough. Meanwhile, the Steam Tank is getting a couple shots off on our zombies, which is exactly what I want them to shoot at. These Dire Wolves are going to get charged by the Knights of the Realm, but some of them are going to go to their intended target of the peasant bows. Some of them. I'm going to send my Terrorgeists, both of them, to take out the Steam Tank when the Peasant Bows are going to be preoccupied with other things. I don't want my Terrorgeists to get sniped down by them. So I'm waiting for our army to engage. It's pretty slow when you're led by zombies. Doom Diver's going in. And then we're going to have a massive engagement with the Orc Boar Boys over here against Knights of the Realm and my Dire Wolves, who I was trying to get around the Knights to get to the Peasant Bows, but they are mostly taken out by the Knights here. And you can see the zombies are starting to get into the spear line, and behind them are going to come the Crypt Ghouls. Crypt Ghouls going to do pretty good against spears. And then the 2 Terrorgeists are going to descend upon the Steam Tank. The other one's still on its way, though. So now the Steam Tank is tied up in melee combat against the Terrorgeists. My other Dire Wolves got intercepted by Grail Knights. And here come my Crypt Ghouls. Again, I'm giving them attack orders to the Peasant Bows to try and just force their way using their mass and their speed to get through the Spearmen. And you can see it works for some of them. And then we get into the Peasant Bows back here. The bows were trying to fire at my Lord, who's now right there. And I'm going to cast a group of zombies in the back line to try and also tie up the Peasant Bows that I couldn't get to with my Crypt Horrors. So I do not want those bows firing. Karl Franz is descending upon our Crypt Horrors, and it's going to do a lot of damage. You can see us just walking through the spears. By walking through, we do take damage, but that's okay. I accept this fact because I just wanted to kill those peasant bows. And you can see we are immediately past those giant line of spears and just getting into their squishy peasant bows behind the spears. The Steam Tank is going to be out of commission in just a moment. The 2 Terrorgeists just brutally destroyed that Steam Tank because it had no support from nearby spearmen or any of the cav. None of the cav came to try and compete against my Terrorgeists. Over here is just going to be a slugfest between the Orc Boar Boys and Grail Knights. And you can see that a lot of the Peasant Bows are now currently routing. They do have low leadership. And there are still a couple Spearman units holding the line on the flanks, but the center has been totally broken. Now we have Terrorgeists down in here against these 2 Grail Knights, because Terrorgeists do pretty well against armored and large units. So I sent them both against these Grill Knights to fight them. The king is here trying to rally his troops, doing what he can against these Cryptors. And I'm going to be sending some of our Crypt Ghouls against these retreating Bretonnian infantry to try and chase them off the map. Meanwhile, the Emperor himself is just being tied down by zombies and a group of the Crypt Ghouls, which I'm totally okay with. I don't want him fighting my hero or my Terra guys, so I am more than happy to sacrifice zombies and Crypt Ghouls to keep Karl Franz busy. And here we go, my 2 Terra guys doing a lot of damage to those Grail Knights at this point. I'm going to send them against the retreating units to make sure that they do not rally. So we're just going to spread them out here, and their terror and fear is going to keep these units from coming back and to fight us, basically. And you can see us continuing to chase off these spearmen with the Crypt Ghouls and even a group of zombies that I had risen behind their spear line. The fight is being wrapped up over here on the right flank because the Orc Boar Boy Biggins have anti-armor and anti-large in their weapons, so the Knights of the Realm are not going to be able to fight them back. Over here, we are trying to bring down the King with the Crypt Horror and our leader, our generic Vampire Lord. I failed to mention he was a Vampire Lord, but not Manfred von Karstein. Because screw the Lord death. Here we have an invocation of the Heck dropping on my Crypt Horrors, and I'm trying to pull them out of combat against these Grail Knights. Terra guys are doing their job really well and keeping these units from coming back, and all of these units are just going to be chased because I am chasing them. So they're going to be chased right off the map. I will show this combat again from what my ally had to deal with. And here we go, Karl Franz is finally pulling away from these Crypt Ghouls and getting into this fight. But now my Terra guys are free to come back, and I'm going to send them against Karl. We have 2 against his 1. Here comes some support from the Orc Boar Boy Biggins against the Grail Knights. Now right here, I did pull my leader out of combat because Karl was coming for him. We're going to cast the Red Death, I believe it's called, on this Terrorgeist. I think that's what I'm about to drop here. Red Fury. So you can see the armor piercing damage and the charge bonus is going to be increased, and I'm sending him against Karl. The other one is getting Van Heel's Dance Macabre, which is going to increase their speed and their melee attack. So I was trying to buff my Terra guys before they went in to fight the Emperor. And you're going to see, he wasn't taking much damage before this, but against these 2 Terra guys, it's not going to be pretty. Also, we have Orc Boar Boy Biggins, we have Crypt Ghouls. I'm sending my Vampire Lord back in there. And the Emperor is just going to crumble against all of these units around him. Meanwhile, the Light Wizard that the Empire brought has just been kind of hanging out here, sniping people with magic missile over and over again. And yeah, within moments, Karl Franz is routed from these 2 Terrorgeists and all the other units around him. So then we focus on the King, who is still putting up a great fight just sitting there on his horse. The King is a really strong combatant. So we're going to send these 2 Terrorgeists against him to try to bring him down. And before they even land, he is going to break because his army is either dead on the ground around him or chased off the field. And the Empire units are also routing at this point. So I'm going to reload it, and we'll see it from our allies' perspective. So you can see here from the start, the Empire player separated from the Bretonnian and is going to just chase in or ride into this massive group of infantry with the Demigryph Knights. Demigryph Knights are really good, so it's not like the craziest idea. Also, I've been trying to play on new maps because there are just so many maps in this game, and turns out Glacial Lake, which is what this one is called, is super tiny. This map is really small. I think this is the smallest map I've ever played on. And also there is a, I guess, Altar to Chaos down in this hole. I don't know. Yeah, this map is really intimate, as it turns out. Glacial Lake. It's no joke. So half of my allies, well, some of my allies' forces are on the right flank fighting off the Bretonnian Cav, or will be. These Demigryph Knights are going to try and ride behind the infantry line of my ally. And they're going to get right into these poor Goblin Wolf Riders. And I think Azhag is going to start dropping Fate of Buna. Yep. Meanwhile, the Doom Divers are just going to sit in the back and launch their Goblin Suicidal Maniacs into, I believe, Cav and Infantry in the back in the engagement that's going on over there. And then this is just going to become a slugfest. Honestly, there's not much to this fight over here. What you see here is basically kind of what happens. Goblin wolf riders do get routed. Those poor little wolves. Not the goblins though, but the poor little puppies who had to die. These poor puppies. Here we go. So this light wizard gets a lot of good shots at a long range into the back of this giant group of infantry. Right here is going to be a wog and stand your ground drop from Azhag. Another magic missile going in from the light wizard. These doom divers still just able to fire. More magic missiles. Another Fate of Buna dropped on one of the Demigryph Knights. I don't know if there's any more magic missiles that come in. But yeah, since the light wizard wasn't targeting my heroes with the magic missile, I was totally okay with letting it live up there. Now, if they casted a magic missile at my hero, then my Terror guys would have been sent to deal with him. But he was a minor annoyance for me. But they did get a lot of good magic missiles into the backs of these orcs. So there we go. One of the Demigryph Knights are finally moved out of this combat into the Doom Divers, who have been free to just fire their shots this whole time. But now the kitty cav is onto them. And they're not going to last too long against Demigryph Knights. And then this is still just a slugfest. I think another Fate of Buna is going to be dropped soon from Azhag. Let's just get some cool other shots here in the meantime. Drill Knight's getting a rear charges here in the back. Oh yeah, there's some orcs here. I forgot to show that. A group of black orcs didn't make it over here to the main battle line. It was a nice rear charge from these Grill Knights. Very nice. More magic missiles going from that light wizard into my crypt ghouls. An odd target, but alright. And these poor Bretonnians. The Bretonnian spear line, really good against crypt horrors, not as good against crypt ghouls. Looks like this is when the Knights of the Realm fell to all those orc boar boy biggins. That poor Steam Tank. Now these Grell Knights are going to be getting a pretty nice root charge against the massive orc blob over here. A couple of the Demigryph Knights units have routed, but they aren't routed off the field. Another Fate of Buna, I think, is about to drop. Yep, there's the sound of it. And then a very nice rear charge from these Grail Knights. That was a beautiful hit, the entire backline of this orc formation. And some Black Knights, I believe, are chasing these, or not Black Knights, Black Orcs are chasing the Grail Knights across the field. Demigryph Knights come back from the routing and charge back into the front. Oh my god, there's so many corpses here. So then these Grail Knights are going to charge against the Black Orcs that were chasing them. Another nice charge from the Grail Knights. And I think most of the Demigryph Knights at this point are dead. A couple are charging back in. But you can see they have taken quite a beating. Though, they did do a lot of damage to that giant orc clump. I will say that. Here comes another charge from the Grail Knights. It's a very good use of them. Charge them in, leave them in for a little bit for the charge bonus to wear off, and then charge out. Some good use there for these those Grail Knights. They got a lot of work done, but the enemy does rout at this point. Let's see the kill counts. My direwolves did not do much. Those 18 kills were from the one group of peasant bows that some of the direwolves got to get into. Crypt horrors did okay. Actually, they did pretty good because they just ran through the spear line, which is nuts. Vargulf, by the way, is really good at doing that. Even better than Crypt horrors. Vargulfs can just run through man-at-arms, spearmen, probably great swords, like maybe even black orcs. I don't know. I haven't tried against black orcs. But if you really want to bust through a line really fast, use a Vargulf. They are super good at getting to the squishy handgunners, peasant bows, artillery, whatever's behind the main line. No need to run that thing around. You can just run that thing straight through. It doesn't even care. But anyway, Cryptoras did okay. This group got 0 kills, though. That's really bad. Terra guys did an excellent job at chasing off infantry, killing the steam tank, and then killing or chasing off Karl Franz. So they did really well. Vampire Lord did okay. Zombies did okay. I think the Crypt Ghouls did really amazing. But against a fight of Spearmen, they're going to be doing really well. For the Bretonnian player, Spearmen did still pretty okay. This one group got a lot of kills probably against zombies for the most part. But you can see a lot of them still had a lot of hit points left. But it's just that fear and terror. They just succumbed to it. It would have almost been beneficial for King Lewin to be routing, because when King Lewin routs, the rest of his army gains immune to psychology, which would make them immune to fear and terror, I believe. But that did not happen. Peasant bows did get some kills, but they weren't given much time to shine because they were chased off pretty quickly. The Cav, this Grail Knight group, I don't know how it got 0 kills. I don't know what that went up against, but the other Grail Knights did amazing. Empire, or the Knights of the Realm, did, I think, rather good, especially considering they were going up against the Orc Boar Boys, Orc Boar Boy Biggins, so that's pretty good. For the Empire player, we have a lot of high kill counts here. 85 kills from the Light Wizard, and all they were using was Magic Missile. That is insane. I have to imagine a lot of those kills came from shooting into the back of the Orc lines because they were just so clumped. They looked impressive, and oh my god, 85 kills on a Light Wizard. I don't think I've ever seen that. 94 on Karl Franz, but that was mostly against Crypt Ghouls and Zombies, so it's kind of, I mean, it's still a high kill count. And, man, these Demigryph Knights, outnumbered, but still managed to get almost over 100 kills for each, and every single one of them. Though, if they were surrounded, this would have been a much quicker fight, I think. But instead, the Orcs were just kind of piled in behind each other. But if those Demigryph Knights were surrounded, this fight would have probably lasted a lot quicker. And the Steam Tank managed to net 24 kills before he got brought down by the Terrorgeist. My ally here, let's see. Those poor goblins got destroyed by the Demigryph Knights. Azhag only got 3 kills. But the Fate of Buna still was amazing, as Fate of Buna always is. Brought down a lot of the hit points for most of these Knights. Black Orcs did okay. That's a high kill count. Maybe that was units sent against the Bretonnians. And these are the ones that are fighting the Demigryph Knights, probably. The Orc Boys are fighting against Knights of the Realm, I think, through most of that. So that's a very high kill count. Maybe they chased off some Bretonnian Spears as well. Orc Boar Boy Biggins, I think most of these were against Knights of the Realm and Grail Knights. And then the Doom Divers both did pretty well. They were left alone a little too long. But the Empire player did eventually respond to them and take them out, which was a good call. So let's take a quick look at the Terrorgeist, because I don't really ever use it. So the Terrorgeist does have poison attacks. It does cause terror and fear. It has regeneration, a high armor, and a high set of hit points here. The damage is really good against armored and large, so armored Cav or Karl Franz on a Griffin or a Steam Tank. So this is really good at taking out Steam Tanks specifically. I mean, it's not the only thing they're good at, but it's really good at doing this because even though it has a low melee attack, after the charge bonus wears off, it's only going to have a 25 melee attack. But against Steam Tanks rely on their armor to keep them alive. They only have a 10 melee defense, so the low melee attack of the Terrorgeist is still going to be more than enough to take out a Steam Tank. Also, it's going to be doing so much armor-piercing damage, which is what the Steam Tank relies on, and this thing just blows through most of its armor with that 230 guaranteed damage, and then a 40 bonus versus large on top of the 70 base weapon damage. But a lot of that's probably going to be negated by the 160 armor that the Steam Tank has, but the 230, that's going straight through. Also, the Steam Tank is going to rely on its terror and fear, but the Terrorgeist causes terror and fear, so it's also immune to those two things as well. And I had 2 of them, which is why the Steam Tank dropped really quick, and also why Karl Franz dropped pretty quick. So yeah, Terrorgeist, I don't use them often. I can't say exactly if they're worth the price. They did so much work in this fight, though. a lot of work. I will say that. So I'll try to use them more in the future. I think this is my first time using them. Maybe it's my second time. I can't remember. But yeah, I was really happy with what they did. So I hope you enjoyed the battle, everybody. I know it was kind of a quick one. It was an intense one. Again, that was a very small map. Glacial Lake. I don't know if I'm going to go back to that. I like to have the bigger maps to give both armies time to really think about what they want to do. But, man, that is a very intimate fight. And yeah, anyway, feel free to leave your comments on what you would like to see in future armies in the comment section below. And I will see you all next time. Good game to my opponents and my ally. Have a good day.